Pat?
Yes.
That's
All right, I'd like to call the meeting of the May 14th meeting, 2020 of the Burlington Conservation Commission to order. This meeting is being held pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th order, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law under General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. So this meeting of the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission is being conducted through remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so by tuning into the BCAT Government Access channel, cable channel, the BCAT Government Meetings Facebook live feed, or you can join the meeting over the phone by dialing 408-418-9388. It's meeting number, it is meeting number 719-337-460. There's a password you may have to enter. It's 82HIA6EMVRJ. And that should be the password that gets you into the meeting. As we have done in the past when we have done this, I've called the roll call to see who is present. Please signify by saying aye or yes or present or something. First name, John Bernstein, Commissioner.
Present.
Commissioner Gail Lima.
Here.
Commissioner Indra Depp.
Here.
Commissioner Bill Boyd.
here.
Commissioner Jennifer O'Riordan.
Here.
Commissioner Ed Laturco. Ed, are you here?
He's muted.
All right. Is his picture there? All right. Okay, Associate Commissioner Kent Moffett.
Here.
Thank you. Administrator John Keeley.
Present.
And Assistant Administrator Eileen Coleman.
Here.
All right. So if I will be calling on people in order, and you can also signify you'd like to speak by hitting on the chat function you can raise your hand. All votes will be by roll call by calling the numbers. And I should note that this meeting is being recorded. Okay, so the first item I have on the agenda is citizens' time. Is there anybody on the phone or on the video that is here for something not on the agenda? Okay, the record should show no one said anything. Item 3 is the approval of minutes for April 23rd, 2020. Are we in a position to approve those? Any
Yes.
objection to approving?
No.
All right. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 23rd, 2020?
So moved.
That was Indra. Okay.
Second, Gail.
And a second, who was seconding?
Gail.
Gail is seconding. Okay. All those approving. John, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail, how do you vote?
Yep.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
We lost Ed.
We lost Ed. Okay, well, we'll have it as the chair votes yes. So we'll call it, in lieu of a vote from Ed, we'll call it 601. I guess. All right. The next item on this agenda is a request for an extension to the order of conditions under the Burlington Wetland Bylaw. Let's see, it's 911 Ray Ave, the Ray Estates Trust, DEP file 122-594. John, is this also under the State Wetlands Protection Act?
Right, it's the bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act.
All right, so this is for bylaw. All right, did we get any communication from them?
Yes, and we have the applicant here, Phyllis Etzel is here.
All right, Phyllis Etzel, would you like to speak at all on the subject?
Sure. Good evening. We fully intended to start this spring. However, due to the delays because of the virus, we have been delayed. We would appreciate you granting the extension. We've asked for a 3-year extension.
All right, I guess given current circumstances, it's kind of understandable you'd have a delay around this time. All right, John or Eileen, do you have any objection to extending this order of conditions?
No, so just as a refresher, this is for a parking lot,
Yes.
which would be associated with the escadrille for sort of overflow parking and whatnot. So I have no objection.
All right, any comment from any of the commissioners? Just identify yourself if you have a comment. Okay, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to extend the order of conditions under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act for the property project at 9-11 Ray Ave, DEP file number 122-594. Who made the motion?
Bill.
All right, second.
Indra, second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, let me call the roll. All right, Dawn, how do you vote?
In favor, yes.
Gail, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra,
Yes.
Bill, Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed. Okay, he's not there. All right, so, and the chair votes yes. Again, we'll have 601. All right, so next we're on item 5. We have a continued public hearing. This was a notice of intent for 150 Lexington Street by Arista Development LLC. It is to construct a new Citizens Bank building. It's under DEP file number 122-642. Is there someone here from that? If there is, please identify who is here and who else is here for that project.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. It is Mark Vaughn with Reamer Bronstein, attorney for the applicant. Hope you're well this evening, commissioners. We have a few folks here from the team that were participating at the last meeting as well, including Phil Henry, our civil engineer with CDM Group, Doug Benoit with Arista, and also Samantha Bergner, who's with Citizens Bank. So I'm going to be very brief if I could, Mr. Chairman, but I know we had a pretty comprehensive presentation at your prior commission meeting a couple of weeks ago. Request to have a site visit to focus a bit more on the edge of the parking lot nearest Vine Brook to see what, if anything, could be done to provide additional benefit, just given the proximity of Vine Brook there. I want to say thank you to both Chairman Cohen and Commissioner Bovin for taking the time to join us on that site walk along with Eileen. I thought it was very productive to walk the entire edge of that and kind of focus in on some areas that we could certainly provide some improvement, and also highlight the area as well where we are providing a pretty enhanced amount of additional green space, and how we could have that as more natural vegetation as opposed to manicured lawn areas. So In the interest of time, I thought it might be best if I could have Phil Henry just quickly walk through the changes that were made as a result of that, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, Mark. Thank you for that introduction. Okay, Mr. Henry, are you in the internet somewhere here?
I am. Good evening.
Good evening.
For the record, this is Phil Henry with Civil Design Group. John, did you by chance get my email from earlier today?
With the updated plans?
Yes.
Yes. And
Excellent.
Eileen, we did
forwarded
distribute them by email.
Okay, excellent. So, since we last met with this commission, we also had a planning board hearing. So the revisions that we submitted to date are a summation of both items that we discussed with this, our last hearing and on our site visit, as well as from our planning board hearing last week. But what I'll do in the order of the sheet numbers that they appear in the plan set, I'm going to note the changes that we committed to at the site walk, and they are reflected on the plans itself. So on sheet 4, which is the overall site plan.
Phil, sorry to interrupt. Do you want me to actually share the plans on the screen? Or do you want to?
Yeah, sure, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. You can just have me move down through which ones you want me to go to, okay?
Excellent. Yeah, I think this should be easier than last time.
Well, full plan set. Okay, do you want me, which one do you want me to start with?
Yeah, so scroll down to where it says sheet 4, which I think is plan number 7. But if you go where it says sheet 4 in the bottom right corner of the plan, so keep going down.
My own head is in the way. Hang on. Come on. Okay, here we go. Sheet 4.
Okay, yep.
Make that bigger. Zoom in.
Right.
All right. Is there something? Oh, circle.
Okay, yeah, that should work. Okay, so the revision on this sheet, you may notice that there is a substantial gray hatch that borders the north parking area. And that is the area that we talked about cleaning up the trash and debris, which is denoted by a leader on the plan, as well as there's also a note that we added to the plan, note 10, that reads, contractor to clean up trash and debris from curb line to the riverbank, including trash within the river limits as shown on this plan. So I think that is indicative of what we had discussed on site.
Yes, and that's on both sides of the fence we talked about, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So this hatch area straddles the fence and actually goes all the way down to the river's edge. But as you noted, on the east side, there's actually debris in the limits that have kind of collected over like a fallen branch or a fallen tree trunk. So, we noted that should be cleaned up as well.
Okay, should we ask for comments as we go through it to make it efficient?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Some of the commissioners weren't there. Bill, you can feel free to chime in here as well. This is Larry Cohen, the chair. There were substantial amounts of trash and debris on both sides of the fence line. And although immediately in back of the bank, where the bank is going, there is Vine Brook. There also seemed to be an unnamed stream, and that veers to the north, the northwest, into the well field. But as you walk along, particularly along the sides of the building, there is another unnamed stream, particularly in the middle of the parking lot and at the beginning of the building, that parallels the property line, and there was substantial trash along those areas as well. And Eileen was there. She may want to comment. Bill was there. And my reaction at the time, I'm saying this for the benefit of the other commissioners who couldn't make it, is it would be a really substantial improvement to the aesthetics and the functioning to have a lot of this debris and trash picked up in the riverfront area all along that fence line. Bill or whoever else, let's see, Bill or Eileen, would either of you like to comment?
Sure. I agree with what Larry said. The amount of trash was significant. I mean, there was baby carriage. There was all kinds of weird stuff on the other side of the fence. It looked like, you could have access to that. There might have been a party area as well, and just a lot of trash. So the commitment by the applicants and the property owners to clean it up is greatly appreciated.
Eileen, any comment, Eileen?
I don't have anything to add. There's definitely a lot of trash down there, a lot of solo cups, bottles, all sorts of things that could really just do with the cleanup. I fully agree, and I think this is a good commitment from the bank team.
I have one question, Phil. Was this issue discussed with the owners of the property, or does it even need to be? I'm not sure it needs to be, but I was just wondering.
Yeah, Sam's on the line as well from Citizens. I can let her speak to that, but I think it was broached with the owners. Is that correct, Sam? She may be muted.
She is muted.
Oh, there we go. Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, thank you guys for the time this afternoon. This is Samantha Bergner. This issue was communicated to both the property owner and Kohl's about what was there currently, and we do have some discussions long term how to keep it free of debris as well.
All right.
So it was noted.
So Samantha, I suppose they had no exception to this proposed project helping to clean up along that fence line.
Correct. Yep.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Henry, you want to continue unless someone else has a comment?
Sure, I'll continue. Eileen, could you please scroll down to sheet 5?
Yep. Is that this one?
Yep. And just pan up just a touch.
A little bit. Yeah.
So on this sheet, this is the zoomed in site plan, if you will, and this has a better depiction of the fence that I wanted to talk about. So along the back line, if you recall, there was an existing fence. Some of it was in disrepair. So we've called for that for the replacement of the damaged portions of fence. Just if you move to the left, Eileen, to the left, right? Yeah, right there. Right. So that stretch of fence will need to be replaced in kind. And then as you move to the right, that existing fence extended very close to the wooded adjacent line on that plan. However, we committed to taking that fence down and running it closer to the back of the 12 parking spaces just left of Eileen's cursor, and then further extending it along the easterly property line, or not property line, easterly parking lot line, adjacent to those 5 spaces all the way down to Lexington Street.
Any comment by anyone on this video conference?
This is Bill. I had just requested that fence be extended behind those 5 parking spaces because there was no fence there at the time, and it looked like it was an easy area to back up and just heave stuff over. There was 5-gallon pails and stuff like that. So putting a fence there, it'll make it a clearer demarcation that stuff shouldn't be over there.
Excellent. Right. Okay, good. Thank you. Anyone else have a comment on this? All right, let's continue.
Okay, there's one item on this sheet that was not discussed at this hearing, but I just wanted to inform you that this plan once had a trash enclosure in the top left. As you're looking at the plan, the top left section of the building in what is now the landscaped area, right there. Yep.
Here.
And we've committed to removing a full-size trash enclosure, and what we're going to do to handle trash is on the back right portion of the building, there's just going to be a small pad with a few smaller trash enclosures that somebody can just wheel out by hand, as opposed to the heavy-duty dumpsters. Because obviously, as you'd imagine, a bank does not generate a ton of trash.
Right.
So that was a result of the planning board, but I felt it was somewhat germane to this hearing, so I brought it up.
Right, thank you. Any comments by any of the commissioners or our associate commissioners? Okay, I don't hear anything. Mr. Henry, are you going to talk about, we talked a bit at the last meeting, and maybe you should reiterate for the commission about changing some of the, where changes were made from sort of manicured landscaping to more natural areas?
Yep. That was my next next topic. So if you can, Eileen, can you please go to sheet 8?
Yep. Come. Is that this one? I think it must be. Come on. There we go. Oh, went too far. What you want?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's good. So this sheet included a few changes. The first of which is all the non-maple trees have been converted to maple trees, and we actually added one as well. So there's a total, I think, of 14 now, 14 maple trees. And as we had talked about at our last hearing, this whole project results in approximately 8,500 square feet of new or converted landscaped area from impervious. And so, and much of it is lawn or manicured lawn because it's within the parking lot and so on. And then some of it's just a mulch bed that has shrubs and low-lying grasses. However, the triangular area that you see there in the top part of the screen behind the new parking spaces, that's contiguous with the riverfront area. So per our discussion on site and at our last hearing, you thought that there was an opportunity to convert that to a more naturalized grass seed mix. So that's what we have done. We've called that out as such.
Okay. So in terms of enhancing the riverfront, that would appear to be a significant benefit within the confines of this project as well. Would any commissioners like to comment on this? Please identify yourself.
This is Bill. I have one comment on that triangular patch. Is the existing fence in the rear of it going to stay?
No, that fence, if I had just mentioned, that fence is actually going to be brought up right to the back of those parking spaces.
Right, but the old one is going to be removed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it will be removed.
Good.
All right. Is there anyone else?
This is Indra. It's good to see this. Very happy to see this, that you have incorporated. Philip, good.
Okay. Thank you, Indra. Anyone else would like to? John, do you, is this, first of all, Mr. Henry, does this finish your presentation of the changes that we talked about?
Yeah, those are all the changes that we talked about, and any other changes that, are germane to the conservation. We added some traffic signage, but I take it that you're not very interested in hearing about that.
Okay. I assume, unless I hear an objection from a commissioner who wants to hear about traffic, I think you are correct.
This is Indra. I also saw that they made that change to make one way, so that nobody can, on the upper, it was 2 ways and they made it in 1 way, right?
Yeah, that was actually a change that we had incorporated, actually a hearing prior, and our conversation is actually ongoing with planning board.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is Ed. I'm finally in. I don't know. I've been listening to everything, but did we cover the snow removal?
Didn't.
No, we did not.
Not yet, and I can give you an update on that. That is, we have been coordinating with the maintenance managers for this property, and it's been a bit of a challenge to kind of get their attention due to a multitude of reasons. However, We do have a conference call set up with them on Monday to talk specifically about snow storage and the maintenance of the property. So it's not a difficult discussion. We just want to make sure we're presenting something that is consistent with what they've already been doing on site so that there's not a significant interruption with the implementation of the new building.
Just by way of background, I will tell you, I have in the last maybe 5 or 6 years have gone into Kohl's, suggested that they pick up trash at least along the fence line, and I have been relatively unsuccessful. So you might want to relay that to the people on the call that perhaps we need to do a little bit better.
Okay, will do.
Thank you. John or Eileen, what is left from your perspective? Or do you have comments or do you have issues?
So I have a couple of questions about the triangular area. Phil, on the plan, it still says reseed up to existing fence to remain.
Okay, I see that. Okay, I'll note that. I'll say reseed up to old fence line.
Okay, so the intent is to let that area just totally naturalize. There'll be no mowing or anything back there, right? Okay.
Yep.
So then just logistically, we obviously didn't prepare anything because there's a new plan tonight. You're going to the planning board, I assume, next Thursday again?
Yes, we're back before them Thursday of next week, a week from tonight, correct?
Okay. So I mean, I think if the planning board issues are resolved, or close to being resolved, we could have a decision drafted for the 28th. Larry.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question to Phil?
Yes, please do.
Yeah. Phil, how many trees you are adding here on the northeast side?
They are. It's either 14 or 15. Eileen, if you could be so kind to pan down to the bottom left.
Yep. Bottom left are the numbers down there?
Yeah, that's the planting schedule.
Maples.
Here.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
This is Gail. I just had a question. The bank, that's going to be seeded with kind of a native, mix or something for the bank.
Up here?
Yeah, so that's not just grass, like lawn grass, right? That's like
yeah, it'll be a mix of like fescue and it just won't be like it won't be a seeded lawn, so to speak.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I just made a note to make that the condition as well on the order.
Okay. Yeah, and if you want, you can condition that they should plant it per the specification on the sheets.
Okay.
We have a spec for the grass seed.
Okay, is there any other commissioners that would like to make a comment? All right, let me ask, is there anyone else from the public who is on this call, either by phone or by video conference, that would like to unmute themselves and make a comment? All right, so let's review. The only thing I heard for outstanding is that we'll get a new plan reference if attached to the application if a change results from the planning board, and we have a snow removal, more detail on the snow removal. Were there any other outstanding issues, John or Eileen or any of the commissioners?
No.
No, I think that everything that we talked about at the site walk and at the last meeting has been addressed in this plan.
Okay, very good.
This is Bill. I agree.
All right, so to the development team, it looks like on the meeting on the 28th, unless something occurs in the planning board that has to remain open, we'll plan to close the hearing and issue the order at that time.
It'll be wonderful, and we'll keep you up to speed in terms of if there's any delay at the planning board level that would result us in not we don't want to have you meet just for us if you don't have anything else on. So we'll keep you apprised of that, John and Eileen.
Right. That would be good, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
All right. So is that anything further on this item? Nope. It looks like we're all set. Very good. Thank you very much, folks.
All right, great. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Well, all right.
Thank you all.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, now a few minor things are left. We have planning board comments. Do we need on this project, John, to write anything about this project or anything else to the planning board?
Yes, I'll let the planning board know that the commission's basically all set with this and they're ready to close.
Okay, thank you. And subcommittee and staff reports. Does anybody have any?
Nothing. I don't.
Okay, all right. And the next meeting will be May 28th and June 11th. If anybody can't make it or not able to tune in, we'll let either John or Eileen know that. Other business. How about other business? Is there anything else?
So it looks like the town offices is going to start opening up next week, slowly, like with part-time in house and part-time work from home, transitioning over 2 or 3 weeks back to more or less all of us being in. The building won't be open to the public, the buildings, but we'll be back in the offices pretty much within a couple of weeks, I think.
All right. Will commissioners be able to come in and collect their materials or come in and talk to you about anything?
Yeah, I think it's fine for commissioners. It's just the public can't just come in, but people from boards and stuff, you just have to make an appointment because we won't be there all the time. But yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right. Anything else? I have one thing. Bill, if you would like, would you like to comment on the status of the initiative for the Community Preservation Act? I know you're on the committee with me.
Yes, sad to say, we've decided it was time to postpone our efforts to bring it to the next town meeting. There's just too many obstacles at this time and too much financial impact currently for both the voting public and the business community. So out of respect for those considerations, and also to get it on the town meeting agenda properly, we will be required to meet with all of the other relevant town commissions and boards, and that wouldn't be easy to do when they're all being remote and everything else. So we consulted with people working on the committee and with the Community Preservation Coalition and some of the other town managers, and decided that it was best to postpone our warrant article. We were able to tell Betty McDonough that in time that it will not even appear on the warrant for the coming meeting, which is now June 10th. So sometime in the future, possibly January maybe, it's kind of a target in our minds, we'll be bringing it back up. It all depends on where the world is at that point.
Yeah, does any of the commissioners have any comments about that?
Nope.
Kent, any comment on this?
Nothing from my end.
All right, I'll just add a comment. The Community Preservation Act, one of the major categories of focus is it supports open space and recreation, and particularly for our open space areas in town are now receiving more attention than ever. An illustration of that is, on our conservation areas, as well as at the Mill Pond treatment, the trail around the reservoir. It's getting some pretty heavy use. And it turns out that it shows that when something like this is happening, an investment into these areas is something that I think many in the public could appreciate. They're using it more than ever. Although we could have represented this, and Bill, you'll agree, I think, as an investment in our community in a number of areas, including affordable housing and historical preservation and recreation, active recreation. The open space is pretty much at the top priority of the mind of many people now who are feeling a little bit of cabin fever. And the 30% match from the state would be a welcome carrot in order to do this. But as you said, we simply decided that it is, in order to explain everything to people, we need to meet with people face to face. And in this environment, it is very difficult.
I'd like to add, Larry, that even after this crisis is beyond the stay-at-home rules, I think a lot of people are going to be reluctant to fly, reluctant to get on a cruise ship, doing more staycations for those reasons and financial reasons, and that the open space and recreation will be more important to the community. In addition to that, talking to Stuart Saginaw at the Community Preservation Coalition, he was saying he's almost full-time right now dealing the communities that have the CPA in place are full force, going full force right now, using as much money as possible from the affordable housing aspect for rental assistance during this time where people have limited incomes and they're having difficulty paying their rent. That is a use that is allowed under the Community Preservation Act. So if we had it in place at this time, we would have been able to offer that as well.
Right. Thank you. John or Eileen, do you have any comment on this at all?
I think, in addition to the fact that you have a hard time seeing people face to face, I think the financial uncertainties for the next few months will make people a little leery. And I think it would be a tougher sell because there's going to be big decreases in municipal revenues. There already are. They're not getting it. The town isn't getting any hotel tax, meal tax. A lot of revenue has gone away. So it's probably good to wait and see, wait for the economy to bounce back before you start again. And hopefully the economy will bounce back fast.
Right. I think it's going to be, I suspect, John, it's going to be a recovery, but it's going to be slower than people would want.
Yeah. Right. And in our community in particular, the business is paying 60% of what would be the CPA funds because they pay 60% of their real estate tax. So an obvious business has had a huge impact with this whole virus and not being able to be open, and restaurants are closed and stuff like that. So out of respect for that as well, was one of our deciding factors.
Yep.
Burlington's a little different, and then such a large fraction of our tax revenue comes from the business community, and I think it becomes a major factor in being sensitive to that fact.
Right.
This is Indra. I agree with that. Yeah, it's a good idea to postpone this to bring to the town meeting now, consider all. So.
Right. The committee, which is composed of people from the Historical Commission, Affordable Housing, the Recreation Commission, the Conservation Commission, and some citizens as well, particularly from town meeting. We've been working for the last 2 years to try and meet with all the stakeholders throughout town and explain this to them. And so it's really too bad, but we were really poised to present it to town meeting and then eventually to the general voting public. But current circumstances are such that it's just not practical.
Regarding town meeting, I talked to Bill Byer, the town moderator, and it's his meeting actually, and he said that he does plan to hold it starting June 10th. He does plan to hold it in the high school, and he was working with some other people to try to determine how best to do that. One thought was to have it spread through several rooms in the high school with video connections of some sort. But he thought with that the latest input that he had received that if they spaced people and used the entire auditorium instead of just the central aisle for town meeting members, and maybe have other presenters or spectators in a different area, they might be able to fit all town meeting members in one room and have it in person. We'll see
Yeah.
how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, one problem with our building is if you don't have good Wi-Fi, you may have a compromised cellular connection. The whole building is built like a fallout shelter, for lack of a better term. It's all concrete. So, okay. Is there anything else from John and Eileen before we adjourn?
I don't have anything further.
Anything from our associate commissioner or commissioners?
On my end.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved, Indra.
Second, Bill.
All right. We have a motion on the floor to adjourn. I'll call the roll call. Don,
Yes.
Gail, Gail, I think that was a yes. Indra,
Yes.
okay. Indra, you're a yes, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed.
Yes.
All right, so, and the chair votes yes. It turns out that was a unanimous vote to adjourn the meeting. Have a good evening, everyone, and stay safe.
Have a great night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
You too.
Good evening, everybody.
Good
Night.
evening.